time to bring it on with your email questions. And Pat, this first one is from Vicki, who says, how does one reconcile with one's faith working at a company that is less than ethical in its business practices? I work with college students with learning disabilities, and the company is way overcharging the families.
Oh. You know, I think you say, how do you reconcile? I don't think you ought to try to reconcile. I think you ought to quit. I just don't think you ought to be participating. Now, it could be you can tell the bosses that they're overcharging, but they'll probably fire you anyhow. But,
oh, for certain. Yeah, for certain.
But nevertheless, you can't continue to do that. I mean, you know, you're enabling them to do stuff that you think is immoral, unethical, illegal, etc.
Does she say something to the families, do you think?
No, I don't think
just
that.
To the
it gets to be slander. After a while, you wind up getting sued by the company, so you don't want to. You got to be careful on a thing like that. They'll sue you. So sometime you might need legal advice because they'll come after you. That's what's so bad. But the big thing is get another job. All right.
This is Robin, who says, Pat, I heard you answer a question Tuesday regarding faith and healing. My quandary with your view is, why have you undergone surgeries if your faith would be enough? This is a sincere question, not meant to offend in any way. I hope you'll address it.
Well, I appreciate it. Listen, I want you to know something. I don't think that religion, faith, and medicine are necessarily enemies. I think that godly people are used by God to come forth with healing techniques that alleviate sickness and suffering and so forth. I've been simply amazed at the wonders that the medical profession can perform. So you say, how come you didn't pray that something will get taken away? Well, the Lord might say, you prayed, and go to see that doctor, and he'll take the mole off your chin or something.
Yeah.
You know. So,
yeah, exactly.
But I don't know what else to say. You could, you know, if you have enough faith, maybe I don't have enough, but I have faith for other people. But for myself, I think I did the right thing.
Okay, this is Jacob, who says, I like to rap as a hobby and hope to encourage people as I rap about never giving up in life. I make sure that my rap is clean. I want to be known for being a secular rapper, so am I sinning? Also, can you wish me good luck on making an impact in this world?
I tell you, rap to me is a bunch of gibberish, so I don't know. I mean, it's, you know, but it's some pretty clever stuff.
For certain.
Well, it is, but I mean, the way they do it is so clever. It's so hard for the uninitiated to even understand what they're saying. But hey, there's nothing wrong with rap. What's wrong with it? It's when you put dirty lyrics in that it's something wrong. All right.
Go make an impact, Jacob. Okay, this is Carrie, who says, hi, Pat. I heard you say that we should not state, quote, if it is God's will for us to be healed, because it shows a lack of faith. Also, we need to ask what his will is first. How would we know God's will pertaining to how he would heal us? He could use doctors to do it supernaturally, etc.
Well, that's exactly what he'll show you, but why don't you ask him? You know, this treatment for cancer, and invariably it's chemotherapy, and chemotherapy kills cells, healthy cells as well as disease cells. And I've found time and time again, when people get involved in strong chemotherapy, it's almost impossible to get enough faith to get them healed, because they're so far down because of this treatment they've had. And it's kind of like luck if they come out of it. So I don't know what to say except the question again was, what am I supposed to do?
Well, they want to know, how would you know what God would have you do? Whether you'd go to a doctor,
well,
whether you...
I think you need to practice the presence of God. You need to know what he's saying to you. But there are times that, you know, you can just feel faith and you pray and the Lord heals you. I've seen that in my life. I had something and I was praying. I was there with my wife, and I prayed, and all of a sudden I felt this heat in this joint, and the thing was healed. So, you know, you don't know. I mean, how do you know? You walk with God, and that's what it is. It's a walk with him, all right?
This is John, who says, it's been 10 years since my wife and I shared the same bedroom, a year and a half since we tried to even hold each other. The only reasons we're together are money and a special needs child we promised to raise. Can we divorce since she will not even kiss me or have sex, or is this a sin?
No, it's not. She's sinning. The Bible says don't withhold from one another except for a little time of fasting. The wife's body belongs to the husband's body belongs to the wife. That's what the Bible says. That's the writing of the Apostle Paul. That woman is sinning against God, and if that's the way she wants to live, that's fine. But in my opinion, it's constructive desertion. You could either have an annulment to the marriage, perhaps, or you could consider it desertion. But I think to break that marriage up, it doesn't exist. Mm-hmm. And so I don't know what else to say except why should you go through torment for year after year after year? It's not right. The person who's withholding intimacy from a spouse is sinning against God. That's what the Bible says. I'm just quoting the Bible. Okay? Mm-hmm. All right.
Okay, this is Millie, who says, I have searched for an answer regarding gambling. My pastor has stated, why not use the money won in gambling, lotteries, horse racing, etc., that Satan has intended for bad, for the glory of God? I do not feel this is sound Christian practice. How would you answer this?
That pastor's off the wall. He's never gambled. Trust me, I know.
Yeah.
I've been in a poker game praying that I might fill an inside straight and stuff like that. And I mean, it's
that was early on. We need to.
Yeah, that's before I found the Lord. But nevertheless, what you're doing is shoving your chips across the table, and you're telling God, I belong to you, but God, I'm testing you now. If that little ball doesn't come into a red 16, I've lost my money, and it's your fault. And the Bible says, thou shalt not tempt the Lord thy God. So whether it's a horse race, or whether it is poker, or whether it is roulette, or whatever, and there are many other ways of gambling, I just think it's wrong, because you're tempting God. That's what it amounts to. Now, gambling becomes an addiction just like drugs. And it's that high that people get, they're right up against the edge of something, and it's that feeling you get when you're going over a roller coaster, and people get that high, and it's kind of like a narcotic. But gambling addiction is every bit as bad as the addiction to drugs. And so for a pastor to recommend that people do that and sort of, gloss over it and say it's a holy thing, that's nonsense.
Agreed.
I do not wish to encourage anybody to get addicted.
I'm with you. I do know a number of people who are addicted to gambling, and it is very difficult to get out of.
I've never been addicted before I found the Lord. I lost all my money in a poker game. I was in... I
was going to ask you how that hand played out.
Well, I was up in... they were cheating me, I think. They always cheat in those casinos, but I mean, I was up in... West Yellowstone, Montana, someplace, and I wound up spending the night with in a bedroll on a mountain in Cody Mountain, and this cowboy that happened to be with me hocked these spurs, got $3.50 so we could eat breakfast. I mean,
wow,
it ain't fun.
No, casinos, I think, fall under that statement that it's for your information and their benefit.
Yeah, well, I mean, I shouldn't say the big casinos cheat. They don't. I mean, they're highly regulated, but the ones that I was familiar with years and years ago, I mean, those games are not honest, and you lose your money.
Indeed.
But oh dear, I can go on and on.
We get it.
Gamblers Anonymous.